start your recording and then go from there. That's
Okay.
okay. We're going to start now, and then they start talking, and people aren't in yet. That's why I just want you to give time for people to start rolling in.
Okay.
And once she gets her, goes off mute and comes on. There she is.
Good morning, Miss Sims. Welcome.
Oh, I like that word, welcome, baby. I like that word.
We're so happy you're joining us today.
So I cannot see myself. Yeah, she's sticking her head in the way there. Y'all just overlook her. Where me at, baby? What's going on with that thingamajigam there? Where's up? Hurry up, gal, get your face. Hurry up, go ahead on and get your head out the way. You ain't running no beauty queen competition around here. The only somebody like that is me. You get on out the way, girl. Get on out of here. I tell you, I can't keep these young folks away from nothing, y'all. But I've been trying for a mighty long time, but I haven't did a well enough job as I like to. But I sure am glad that y'all young folks out there saw fit to invite the old lady to be a part of y'all day. Oh, I tell you,
we are so happy you are here. We're about to start admitting people now into the session.
Okay.
Just give us a moment, and then Miss Penny Brown is going to introduce you.
Okay, I'm admitting.
All right.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Wow.
Well, I got some high society, sophisticated, ain't country folk looking at me today. I sure hope my hair's all right. I tell you the truth. Didn't have time to get my pressing comb, you know. I tell you these, well, that's all right. The old lady coming just like she
is. Well, welcome everyone.
Before. Oh, this Steve, y'all.
Okay, thank you.
What's going on?
So, welcome everyone.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Welcome everyone, and thank you all for joining the Herndon Lead ERG Black History Month celebration. And we are continuing today with a special presentation by our wonderful guest who is joining us. I'm going to allow Miss Penny Brown to introduce you all to Miss Helen Sims. So Penny, would you please introduce our guest to our attendees today?
Yes. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Can everyone hear me okay? At the last one, they were saying I'm speaking a little low, so I just want to make sure. Today, we have the privilege of having Evangelist Helen Sims, who is a native of Belzoni, Mississippi. She's a married mother with 5 daughters and a proud grandmother. And over the past 20 plus years, she's committed her life to working with the youth and prevention and intervention programs such as Future Leaders of Mississippi, Adopt the Youth for a Better Way. You know, she does the summer youth sports programs such as baseball, basketball, softball, t-ball, things of that nature. Which include children from all over Humphreys County, where she lives, from the grades of K through 12. And she provides school supplies, uniforms. She's just really into her community and improving the life of others. She's also worked with community organizations, working with self-esteem, cultural empowerment programs, and she uses history and cultural heritage from more than 3 generations of stories told to her by her mother and her grandmother. She wants to make sure that African Americans know their history and not just after African Americans, but all Americans, that they know the African American history, and that they acknowledge it and that they're willing to celebrate it. She is also, she founded the first museum honoring the father of the voter registration movement, Reverend George W. Lee. She has the first civil rights museum in the history of the state of Mississippi, honoring Fannie Lou Hamer. She just has her finger on the pulse of what is needed, and she's vital to her community. And I don't want to keep just running my mouth because I don't want to, delay you guys seeing what she has to offer. So everyone help me welcome the old storyteller, Miss Helen Sims.
Well, I sure be glad to be here today. And to all of y'all that's done gathered around the front porch by way of Zoom, I tell you today, the old lady just feels so good that the young folks is willing to listen, because it hadn't been too long ago I noticed a slackness in young folk wants to hear what the old folks had to say. And I had to remind them, y'all, that long time ago, that's how we got the history out. The griots, the storytellers was the library, the history books. Because back then, children, they didn't know how to read and write. So somebody had to sit down and take the time to listen to the old folk. And every village, every plantation seemed to have at least one that they could go to and learn who to be, where they come from, and how important it was to keep the values of their people. And that's what we call our cultural heritage, learning who you be. And today, the old lady's so glad to be among all of you all around the front porch, listening and giving me the opportunity to share what's in my spirit, what's in my heart about our folk. And today is no different. Jesse get lonesome sometime here on this here plantation and sitting out here on this front porch and not a soul come back. But today, here it is, the month of February. Oh, I tell you, mean a lot to the old lady. And this month, I center a lot on our family, who we are, and how we need to respect one another, and how we stuck together. And when I think of that, I think of stories that I've heard. Our education ain't like it is today. It was back then, listening from one storyteller to the next. And they always told us what it was about our history. In the month of February, we're talking about the family, and more especially, y'all, the Black family, who we are, where we come from, and who we struggling still who to be. And our history, I want to start maybe after around about the Civil War. Can I do that today, children? Oh, thank you so much. You're allowing the old lady to just do that. Thank y'all. Well, when we got ourselves together and we become a focused people, understanding the dilemma that we was in, and around about before the Civil War, our people was working on the plantation. And the conditions wasn't all of that good, children. It was hard, and folk was longing for a better life. And many times, family been always important to the Black family. Many times during slavery, we got separated from those that we made our family, because if we was lucky enough for two or more of us to come over on that their ship. And I want to tell you, in the beginning, we wasn't slaves. No, that's a bad dose of misunderstanding. We wasn't all slaves. But when we got on board that slave ship, that's what we become, enslaved people. We were human beings, packed like sardines on board the ship, and made our way to America. And there we found that we were separated from family. But family for the Black man, the Black family have always been important. When they made themselves a family, children, and that family, because of the old plantation owner, got separated. For whatever reason, he decided to sell the male or the female, the mama or the daddy. then we were the type of people that forged new families where we went. We adopted one another as kinfolk because the family was very important. And we set up the relationship as we had knew it and as familiar as we was from the motherland. When one didn't have on the plantation, then those that did have made sure nobody went home. It wasn't selfish back then, y'all. But if the mother died of a child, you know what happened? The mother of that plantation, somebody took that child and made that child their own. That's why I want to stress the family has always been important to the black man, especially black people. If you didn't have an aunt or uncle, somebody on that their plantation became your family member. Remember that. Family is important. Sticking together is important. You come from a proud people, children. You come from a people that knew what humanity was. You see, I learned so long ago that we brought humanity over here on the slave ship. We didn't learn it in America. We brought it with us. And we knew how to love and respect one another. And there are even today villages practicing it in Africa today. If your brother didn't have no some teeth, somebody in that village that had enough to eat for himself and his family made sure that the people on their plantation had something to eat. They wasn't selfish, y'all. And when it was time for a young lady to get married, we talking about family values and morals of black man. And humanity and all these things they learned. It was taught and part of the culture where we come from. When they were ready to decide who would marry who. Today, these young men go and when you know anything, they courting your son and daughter. That wasn't the way the black family was. You know it. If that young man come walking up to that house and they talk to your daddy and got his permission, he'd get a stick put on his behind. You had to go through the family. You couldn't just walk up there talking about you coming to see somebody's daughter. Well, that's the way it was from Africa. You had to get permission. And if that daddy didn't give permission for that young man to come to see that young lady, you better not show up there because they would take you to the wood shack, take you out there in the woods. And when you come back, you know you've been dealt with. But it was about respect. The young men respected the young women. You went through the daddy. And they would go then to the uncles. And they would get together and set up what they call a diary. They made sure that that wedding, that union would have a solid foundation. Oh, that's what they did for the family. The uncle on one side gave cattle and the uncles on the other side gave cattle. Cows, I think, was one of the most valuable things. But by the time that young man and that young woman would be wedded, they would have the foundation necessary to start a decent life. And I want to tell you today, from that time forward, that young man was mentored by the other African males. And he learned how to be a husband to his wife. And the woman learned how to be a wife to her husband. Because the older women made sure the young women knew how to be a wife and a mother. Oh, I know if we compare then and now, we might get a little bit of difference. Some of y'all might say out there a whole lot of difference. But the family was the foundation, and that's what tied us together after we got separated and came to America. And that's what we were so anxious to make sure that we laid the tool and the foundation of freedom. Because we wanted and we longed to be free, our men was willing to go to that their civil war and fight because they wanted a better life. But time would go on, and our president at that time, called Abraham Lincoln, the turn of events would allow for the black man to be fighting in that their civil war. Abraham Lincoln was a smart man. Not only was he the first president to sign the Emancipation Proclamation, and after which on the 7th of February, they declared by way of resolution, it would never be, can you imagine that, necessary for a president to sign a resolution. But Abraham Lincoln signed that resolution. He signed the one and said approval. Which one I'm talking about? Oh, the 13th Amendment. Yes. Oh, you talking about February 1st? Oh, yeah, that's right. He signed it, baby, on February the 1st. And that was 1865. He sure did. Well, he signed it and he put on there approved. And you know, they said, well, we gonna make sure that ain't necessary no more. After that, the ratification came and they said ain't necessary no more in the same year. But Abe was so excited to get it, he sent it off to the state legislatures so that the states could ratify that their 13th Amendment by the required number of votes. They had to ratify it, y'all. And when they got the required number of votes, do you know they were so excited on December the 6th when they got the required number of votes? Until it was approval official. But that dear Sewell fella, he had to put it in the books and make it law. So on the 18th of December, it was all said and done. But they memorialize and celebrate February the 1st. Why? Because February the 1st was when he actually signed that their resolution. He signed it so it could go to the state legislature. Well, did that answer your question, baby? All right, I don't want to leave nothing. When you asked old lady the question, to the best of my knowledge, oh, don't be hitting on the gal over there. It's all right to ask me questions, baby. Best of my knowledge, I'm going to try to answer. What you say? Oh, yeah. Well, that's fine. But let me go on with the story. Don't y'all keep on interrupting me now. So now, who? Oh, no, you talking about something else altogether there, baby. No, oh, no, you talking about January the 1st. Uh-huh. I can't hardly hear you that good. That was January the 1st, 1863. Oh, yeah, that was the Emancipation Proclamation. That's when he set up and told them on the 22nd of September, 1862, that was the preliminary. What? Oh, don't get confused now, baby. It was the preliminary. Uh-huh. Yeah. He made an announcement. He told them, if y'all don't let the slaves in the southern state go by the 1st of January, 1863, I'm going to declare them all free. No, that was 100 days. Yeah, that was, you right, baby. You right. It was 100 days. From September 22nd. Yeah, you got that right. Uh-huh. That's right, baby. You sure right. But anyway, yeah, well, who teaching this thing? Me or you? Who telling this story? I'm telling this story. Yeah, but I don't mean no disrespect, baby, but don't try to confuse me. Yeah, it was January the 1st, 1863, when the southern states, it was 10 of them, was supposed to have succeeded back to the Union. And because they didn't, he said henceforward and forever free would be the slaves that was in those, in the southern states. That's right. But look, let me tell this story, okay? Oh, what? Yeah, I told you can ask questions, but you asking questions in the middle of me trying to tell the story. Well, listen, baby, old folk don't mean no disrespect, but you disrespect the old folk. Let me talk and ask questions in the end. Okay, well, let's get back to it. The black man valued his family, and he was willing to fight for it. And all them things I just mentioned, December the 6th and all of that, all that happened. But now the black man is finna undergo another form of slavery, because the 13th Amendment abolished slavery in America. But now they're going to set the system up. They're going to now tell some slaves, they're going to find out, but some of them old masters didn't want to let them slaves go free. Some of them didn't find out until much later. Different times for different states. But they found out much later, some of them, that they weren't free. Yes. But that was all right. That was all right. So they wasn't free. Uh-huh. Because the old master told them they wasn't free. That's how they found out. Oh, that scoundrel wasn't telling the truth. No, he was not telling the truth because they was. But they wanted them to stay on them their plantation. So the old massa, just like Bruh Rabbit, Bruh Bear, and old Fox, old Fox, old Bruh Fox, he got slick on them. They invented a thing called sharecropping. And baby, I want to tell you, my mama said it wasn't nothing but another form of slavery. That's all it was. You work from sun up to sundown and can to cane. And out of all you did, I want you to know you never made enough money in that thing called sharecropping to get ahead. Never did. He was like that old fox. He was clever. And every time the black man thought he had made enough money so his family could get ahead, that old fox tried to outfox him. But the black man knew he was being cheated. But it wasn't much he could do about it. So the second form of slavery among the three forms that we recognize from that their plantation was sharecropping. Some of them say, I beg to differ with you, old lady. Say it was prison, the prison system. I want you to know it was both. If they didn't have a job, they would get them and lock them up. And the old master on them their plantations. They would go and make a deal because they know they couldn't pay the fine because they didn't have no money no way. So if they couldn't pay the fine, what they did, they gave them a fine that they know they couldn't pay, so they had to work the fine out. That's what the black man did. He had to work off the fine that they had given him. And that was the other form of slavery. Them their old Jim Crow eras and them old black codes and all them old laws and things was set up to keep the black man enslaved, even though he was free according to the 13th Amendment that freed all the slaves in America. But I want you to know that black man endured it. And he looked at his children and he got up every morning and he went to the field and whatever master said, but he was always longing for a way out. And it wasn't fair. No, it wasn't right. I know that. No, it wasn't right. But what they did, they endured. And a whole lot of them in the sharecropping era, they got tired of it. Yeah, they got tired of it. And what they would do, they went to the corner store. Up there, the commissary. That's what they called it. And at the commissary, I want to tell you what they did. One year, my great-grandpapa said that, yeah, well, he didn't tell me. You know, he had to tell my mama before me. Yeah, I'm old, but I ain't that old. What's wrong with you? Don't have to, but anyway, he told her that one year, he went up there and he told old Master, you know one thing, old Bessie, that mule there, she tired and wore down. Oh, Massa. Yeah, they still call him Massa. I know slavery over now. They still call him Massa, or Missa, or Miss. But still, he said, yeah, Massa, yeah. He went up there because by now he done learned some sense. He went up there and said, I need a new mule. I need supplies. I even need a better wagon. Master, this year we gonna get you more cotton than we ever got before. And do you know he was a smart black man? What you think he was preparing to do? He got everything new, got all the seeds. The woman went to the commissary and got all the material. Because you know what they had to do back then? They had to make their own clothes. Don't worry about it. They was good at it. And that night, the family had packed up everything they had, including all the, the new stuff that Master had bought, the plow, the wagon, and the good mule and everything. They got tired, baby. They freed themselves the only way they knew how after the 13th Amendment. And sharecropping wasn't nothing but another form of slavery. So now they did like some of the slaves did. They became like a Harriet Tubman. They ran away. They had the night when old Master was good and sleep. They got the brand new wagons and mules and they headed out. And they made sure they didn't leave no trail of whichever way they was headed to go. That's the way some of the black folks had to leave the plantation. That was just another form of slavery. And prison was just another way, the prison system, to make sure. Because it said in there but by the punishment for a crime is the only way that you can hold a man and make it work for nothing. So they said, well, there's a loophole. We're going to take this joker. And they did. But a lot of men didn't do nothing wrong, baby. Didn't do not one thing wrong, and a whole lot of them went to prison because of one more plantation needs somebody else to wake up. And it was a lot of injustice going on, children. But the black man kept his family together. And when the black man couldn't carry the load, I want you to know it always beside a good man, it's been a sure enough good woman. And the women got together and they did what they could do. They brought in the crops when the men went to prison. Them and they children got out there and they picked that cotton and they plowed, they did what was ever necessary. But we still longing to be free. And in a lot of places, they didn't announce the freedom until what my brother said the other day when the Negro people still out there slaving. And now they didn't even know. A lot of them, they heard the rumor. And some of them felt it was true, but they didn't have a lot of them nowhere to go. And they didn't want old master to put them off the plantation. Or they had to send the soldiers down through the southern state to enforce that their 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Them soldiers went around from plantation to plantation, and they found a whole lot of them still there. Some of them decided to stay, but it was some of them, it was time to celebrate. They got that there cone whiskey. You know, they don't like to talk about moonshine, you know. But they got it and got drunk and they danced and went to master house and stole his good food and everything else. Some of them because they found out they were free. And when them Union soldiers with them badges on them stepped up there and told them, y'all, yeah, yes, ma'am, I come to give you the news. It's confirmed that y'all be free. That's all they wanted somebody to do. In some places, just confirm. And today, that is the reason why. Even we talking about it 12 months out of a year. We talking about Juneteenth. We talking about when black people, when everybody learned that we free, it was announced, and we want our freedom. And even today, we are not free when it comes down to education about who we be. Because they have kept the truth away from us. And we still learning. We still digging in the history. We go by what the griots and all of them told us a year ago and on the plantation, what they went through. All that's good history because that's your history tied directly to you as you related to what happened during these times of struggle. And when those people learned that they were free, many of them headed to the north place of freedom. And even today, we're still trying to tell people the truth of the matter because a lot of attempts, like old master, to keep the knowledge of you being free away from you so you'll work for nothing. Huh? What you said? Some of us still working for nothing today, baby. Well, you don't let me get ahead of the story. I understand that we don't have a living wage in America today. I know that. When they went down there in the 60s and they marched on Washington for a living wage and decent houses, I ain't got my head white for nothing. I know all about them times. I was there. See, when storytellers try to tell y'all, some of y'all don't want to listen. When we get started, y'all try to tell us. You got to let me get up there. Take me time. I'm old. Let me find the way. Yeah, I know about that. No, we don't have a living wage today. And I know about the civil rights movement and the struggle. I know about how many of us was lynched and how many of us property was taken. All we needed was a chance. And we got our own towns and our own banks. Yeah, I know they burned them down. I know that they didn't want to accept the fact that the black man was that smart, that he was able, if I tend to your business, if I cook your food, don't you know I got sense enough to cook food for myself? I'm working in your restaurant and you think I can't open up my own? Yes, they showed them, children. They went on about their business after the Civil War. A lot of them got away from under that sharecropping slave system prison thing. And some of them opened up their own dry cleaners. Some of them open up their own. I don't want to think about that during the COVID. They own funeral homes. They own businesses. We had millionaires. I know one place in particular you might be done heard about. Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the 1920s. Yes. Well, they said, they always wanted to accuse the black man of trying to rape the white woman or something. They had to have some type of legitimate reason for lynching and killing them. But most of them wasn't nothing but lies, excuses, what they used to just hang a man or take your land or whatever they wanted to do, riding under sheets and horses at night. But Tulsa, Oklahoma, children, that was a place where they didn't want us with them. Them Negroes named, they called it Little Greenwood, named it after a town in Greenwood, Mississippi. Did y'all know that? But anyway, when they got to Tulsa, Oklahoma, they didn't care about the white folks, didn't want them up in their town. When that young man got on that elevator, and that elevator, sometimes that thing will jack and shake and whatever. And some of them said he might have bumped into her by accident. And she went running out there thinking that the black brother wanted her. He wasn't thinking about that woman. He was trying to hold his balance. Because he was down there working, he went to the bathroom. Yeah, he had to use the elevator because it wasn't down there where it was. That's why he was on the elevator, so he could go up. He didn't need to go down. Yeah, that young man was working there as a shoe shine fella. It was a whole lot of them working up in Tulsa, yeah. But they went back to Little Greenwood. They took their money back home. Somebody out there can learn a lesson about how the black family thrived and survived. They didn't want you in their communities, but you were good enough to work for them. But that was all right. Those people say, I'll work for you and I'll make your money. I'll bring it back to my neighborhood and I will save it and I will put it in my neighborhood. I will shop in my own stores. I will support my people. We'll stick together in a Little Greenwood. We're going to stick together. And the money turned over so many times right there in Oklahoma, in the black community. They were sitting all by themselves because them folk didn't want to be bothered with us. But at that time, it was all right. Some of us now ain't saying it ain't all right now, We want to be with them. But back then, that was the way it was. And when that young man bumped into that woman and she cried loud and lied on him and everything, and they put him in jail and they wanted to kill him and everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah, them soldiers, they came to the rescue. But what did they do? Oh, I know a lot of them stood up bravely. But in the end, they came and they burnt down their houses. They looted and raided. They found out they had grand pianos, baby. They found out some of them had airplanes. Oh, they had nice furniture in their houses and stuff. And the young men wore suits and ties. And they found out something else too, baby. They found out that them folk were living good over there in Little Greenwood in Oklahoma. Yeah, they did over there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They found out they were doing good without them. And Mama said they couldn't stand it. So they burnt down everything and took everything that they wanted to. Oh, they still left some things standing. I know that. Yes. And the banks, they had banks. They had their own stuff, Tiller. They had businesses that would support their own community. And the black folks supported themselves. They neighbor and neighbor stuck together. Brother and brother stuck together. The money went hand in hand. We need to get some of that going on now. Yeah, we talking about the black family, this Black History Month. And we talking about how our family finally found out. And it's the mission now of the one-on-one, hand-to-hand, mouth-to-mouth, spreading the news by whatever means necessary about Juneteenth. Because when we bring all of the information, all the roads don't lead to Juneteenth. All the roads gonna lead to educating our people about the truth of who they be. where they come from, how far we really done come, and how far we really still need to go. All the Black family is an awesome thing. Even when we were separated, it was an awesome thing because we learned how to forge new families. We learned how to become our brother keeper. But those values and qualities were some that was used or exercised every day and still is in some among some tribe in Arcavialon. Many names they call Africa, but that is the place where we, whatever name you call it by, learn the value and principles and the morals of family and family value and sticking together because that's what we did. And when your sister went and opened up a stove, oh, I don't mean to be pointing my finger. That's something old folk do. We got manners, but when we get excited about our history and our men and how they done survived and how we got people standing up today against lies of history being distorted, I already know about that there Christopher Columbus. One of the biggest lies ever told. That ain't the only one. You know, they told a lot more lies too. And they still trying to change history around even today. But the ugly truth is we was raped, lynched, robbed. We were stolen and kidnapped from our own homeland. And when we brought here, we became the property of the master. And we've been struggling for human and civil rights ever since. And I want y'all to know we ain't finna give up now. Because that group, and I think that fella by the name of, I think the new chairman, because the one that I got to meet, I got to meet him personally, was Dr. Ronald E. Myers, the man that started this right here, a quest to make Juneteenth a national day of observance. But you know, he died a few years ago. And since that time, it fell into new hands. And a young whippersnapper by the name of Steve Williams is working with a group of educated folk. You know, I'm going to try to rub elbows with them and get close to them so I can get me some education too, you know. They want the people to know the truth and to teach them that you were enslaved human beings. That's who you were. And you wasn't 3/5 of nothing. But you was a human being that deserved not to be treated like property, because freedom means free will. But when you are a slave or enslaved, you got to do as you told, when you told, what you told, how you told, or you would suffer the penalty or the punishment for not being obedient to whoever your master might have been. But you know, the Bible spoke against slavery. Slavery is even spoke of in the Bible, and many examples in the book. But today I want you to know, I might have got a little mixed up there because the young folks, I don't mean no disrespect to none of y'all. You understand what the old lady saying. But when somebody talking, y'all, you get them thrown off track when you start trying to get ahead of the story and tell me, because I know how I want to tell the story about what my folk told me. And no disrespect here. And the old lady respect y'all as long as y'all respect me. But you got me to go ahead of some things, and I had to backtrack. But that's all right. The facts are the fact, and the story is, young man, be proud of who you be. Know you come from a long line of men that respect their women. Know you came from a long line of men that were willing to die for their children's rights. A long line of men that went out there and worked from can to cane. A long line of men that worked from sun up to sundown to make sure, even though they know it wasn't right, they kept working. And every now and then they would ease one child away from Mississippi or them southern states on off to school. And some of them stood up to that old plantation owner and said, "Mister," they didn't say "master." Some of them black men stood up and said, "Mister, Mary Bell is gonna go to school. My daughter gonna get an education. I'm gonna work here on this plantation for you, but my daughter is not gonna work for you. Now my sons is another thing, but I'm sending my daughter off to Chicago or Tennessee somewhere to get her education so she can come back here and be a school teacher." Some of them black men stood up. then and now. Oh, the journey of the black man has been a rough one. And there are a lot of black men like Dr. Ronald B. Myers want these days memorialized. Days and dates are important. Dr. Myers made a great sacrifice that Juneteenth become a reality in the mind of the people, because that will be the foundation of the conversation for education about who you be. And a lot of the misleading facts that even some of the old storytellers, they were telling the story, but they didn't understand it from some technical, some political point of views. But even some of us old folk can get some good old education. And they got a group of people. All that history one-on-one thing, they tell me that's an awesome thing. That's an awesome son booger. They learning how to teach us, you and me, and our children. All of us who may not already know. I know some of y'all think y'all scholars out there. That's all right. The old lady might not teach it like you would in a book, but I guarantee you, if you check my facts, you can find some history out there to back up. But they want to make sure that our people know, not just on June 19th, not just the day that symbolized the freedom of all people, because they know that they were still finding people, and not just in 1865, but 1866. There was conditions and circumstances where the other people in America, in the United States, didn't get the news, or because of the technical facts, the legalities of politics, they wasn't considered free. But when you get with that group, you know I want to be a part of that group too, you know. I like education too. I ain't too old to learn. What's wrong with y'all? You get with that group of folks, and they gonna teach you what you don't know and give you a better understanding of what this history, great history of our people is all about, and what we need to do and how we need to do it to unify. Stop going against one another. Now, they may not tell you this in that Juneteenth History 101 thing, but I'm going to tell you. There's a thing called the Willie Lynch syndrome. Yes, it is. It's real, you know. I don't know whether Willie Lynch was a real person or not, but that syndrome is real. I've done watched it over the past. Oh, no, I forgot. Number 14 might be out there. I ain't gonna, you know, talk too much. But I done watched it over the years, and I want you to know something. Brother against brother, the light-skinned against the dark-skinned, the educated against the uneducated. I done watched them. I done watched the big woman hating on the little woman. Of course, though, you know, I'm just thick, you know. And the little woman hating on the big woman. I done watched that syndrome. And I know it's working, whether Willie Lynch actually did it or not. But we got to stop practicing the Willie Lynch syndrome among our own people. And we got to start supporting one another. And stop being jealous of each other. I may not do it the way you do it, but don't try to take away from me what I'm doing and what I know how to do. And I won't take nothing away from you. But when you want to learn about February and Carter G. Woodson and Negro History Week, and the fact that it was Negro History Week before that they all forward signed it for Negro History Month. And it's now, I know it's not enough time, but the way we do it, here at the Fannie Lou Hamer Civil Rights Museum, educational program from the front porch of the Shotgun Shack with the old storyteller. And we call ourselves virtual mobile pop-up now, you know. But anyway, what we want to do is to make sure that all of you all learn about the truth, the authenticity of our history. And don't care how you teach it, long as it's right and true now. And be willing, if you made a mistake, to look the man in the face and say, baby, that's what I was told. I talked too fast, or that's what I thought. But I want you, baby, to know the truth. I want all of y'all, every one of y'all in this room, and all of y'all out there by way of YouTube and the Facebook and the Twitters and all them other things y'all got out there calling modern technology. I want y'all to make sure that our people learn the truth of who they be, where we come from, and how far we got to go. And stop hating on one another. When your brother's struggling out there, give him a hand. When he's trying to pull up, don't knock him down. That's the mentality we learned from the master. We don't need no more of that. It's time for us to stand in the principles and the power of the people, who we be and where we come from. A people that be loving on family. And family didn't have to be blood either. When that young man came to town, Papa put him in the house, and if 3 of y'all slept in the bed together, Papa raised them as his own child. There's a lot of folk got raised by folks that wasn't none of their parents, but they couldn't have been loved no less, children. So if you don't understand that it's so important, February the 1st, National Day of Freedom, and all the days of the presidents and everything that happened in the month of February. Oh yes, there's a lot happening in February. There's a day called the Mississippi Freedom Day. On February the 7th, Mississippi was the last state in the United States to become an emancipated state because somebody dropped the ball in 1995 after they officially ratified the state of Mississippi. Somebody dropped the ball. Ain't nobody gonna take credit for it. Somebody dropped the ball and didn't send it to the Federal Register in Washington, D.C. So when the movie Lincoln came out in 2012, they did an investigation and found out that there was an asterisk by the name of Mississippi, which means the state had never been ratified. And after 148 years, Mississippi was the last state in the United States to be ratified. Oh, I tell you, when I found that out, I got on it and I went to the representative and said, make a concurrent resolution here that this date be memorialized so we can tell our children that this is a day of celebration. We coming out from under the old and we're going to stand up and fight for the new. Yes, all lives matter. What you say? All lives. Well, let me say it like this. Y'all can say what you want, but I'm going to put it like this. Every life matters, regardless to whether you're black, white, yellow, or brown. Every. That's right. Every life matters. And to the black woman who shed more tears, it seems, than any woman, they sure enough matter. Her children matter to her. I want you to know there's been the old storyteller from the front porch of the shotgun shack telling you that February is a very important month. We got presidents, events, and all kind of things to memorialize. What? Oh, yeah, you gonna get me back. Oh, that's right, Valentine. Well, I want some of that millionaire candy now. I don't want that cheap stuff. You're gonna be loving on me. You love on me, right? Give me some millionaire. No, I don't drink nothing, baby. I don't put none of that stuff. I stopped drinking corn whiskey a long time ago. I don't want no alcohol in this body, baby. This temple belongs to God now. Yeah. But yeah, St. Patty's Day, Valentine, all these days are important. An old lady like to talk from the front porch of the shotgun shack with the old storyteller. I like to talk about days that we need to, important days that we need to memorialize and celebrate. And in that Juneteenth 101, you're going to learn a lot about days and events and history and all of the people that Steve Williams and especially that Dr. Ronald B. Myers. That man, I tell you, he made a lot of sacrifices. I met him. I knew him personally to get Juneteenth to the point to where the people that's handling it today can move forward. And by the way, if you hadn't signed that petition, you need to sign it. And if you ain't went to your state legislators, yeah, them scoundrels still the one you got to talk to. Well, go to them and talk to them and tell them we need their help. We need them to make this thing official. Who? Oh, yeah, Biden, that's right, sure is. Kamala. Well, if it ain't right, to touch it to the head, you know what I'm saying. Kamala and Biden, y'all make sure. Those of you out there, senators, representatives, and whoever got the power, get up to them and talk to them and tell them we want this to be a national day. A national holiday in America. Yes. And yes, we got a story to tell about Dr. Ronald B. Myers. But it seemed like that old Steve Williams is coining his own history with what he's trying to do. And his lovely wife, Sylvia Myers, and the Myers family, always to them, I give a shout out. I love you, gal. And I sure do miss old Dr. Ronald B. Myers. But he seemed to have left things in capable hand. But I got a walking stick. If Steve Williams get out of line, oh yeah, y'all tell him, yeah, it's a threat. Yeah, and I said, if you get out of line, I got a walking stick. The old storyteller from the front porch of the shotgun shack. That's a fact. If he get out of line, I get a hold to him. Y'all don't know me, do you? I ain't scared. Somebody ain't got no gun in his hand. So let us keep moving towards unification. All things Juneteenth. Don't care what you say. If it's authentic, it's going to lead down that path. And they done decide to get one name, one group. Let's unify and let's make Juneteenth the national day that everybody in America can start the conversation. What? The 4th of July? That ain't our day. That's America's day. No, I know they all didn't get the news at the same time, and all of them might have not been free from the master, and some of them still need to be free from the mind or in the mind. But we said June 19th is the day that we all gonna agree. We're not gonna take nothing from the days that whatever happened when they happened. We gonna embrace them too and tell the truth about all of them. But you talk to your representative, your senator, your congressman, and if you can get a letter to Joe Biden and Kamala, then send him a letter too and tell him to help us make Juneteenth a national day, a national holiday in America. So we, after all these years, been lied to, history twisted around and flipped upside down, can finally have a place where we can reference all African American history. I know I do. So I'm looking for you to do the same. What? Oh yeah, I recognize Mississippi history. And everything happened. I got to. All history is important, long as you tell the truth. Don't water it down. I know some of y'all still scared. Fannie Lou Hamer said, those of you that ain't up under the bed, y'all done ran out those up under the house. Y'all cowards, you don't want to stand up for the truth. You behind me. Oh, no, don't get behind me. Fannie Lou Hamer said, I don't want you behind me because you might be too far. What? No, I don't want nobody behind me. That's not support. Walk side of me where I can see you because you might be sticking a knife in my back. Yeah, that's what she said. Let's march up this road to freedom together. And Fannie Lou Hamer with it. I don't want you behind me because you might be too far back there. And when you're behind me, you can do a whole lot of things when you can't see some of us. Some of us ain't no earthly good. What color? It don't make no difference what color you is. If you're a human being in your race, you got some folks that ain't right too. Oh yeah, we got some good folks. Yeah. The Underground Railroad was a good example. Well, listen, the old lady done got tired now. And from the front porch of the shotgun shack, I went back, I went forward, talked about the history, the culture, the heritage, and the struggle of the Black man. Today, we done made it all the way to the White House by way of Barack Obama, President of the United States. Kamala, representation of the fact that the glass ceiling done been broke. And now all you young girls out there know that not only can you be a secretary, a doctor, or a nurse, a lawyer, or a judge, but you can also become vice president. And some of y'all out there got your eyes set on being president of the United States. I want you young Black woman to know that there's nothing that you can't achieve as long as you can conceive it in your mind. You can achieve it. Just believe in yourself, Black woman. And Black man, the sky is the limit. Keep on teaching your young Black men how to be fathers. Keep on teaching your young Black men dignity and character of a true man. And keep on telling them all that if they can conceive it, they can achieve it. We came all the way from Acavialon, the motherland, by whatever name you want to call it, but we came all the way from the place where time began, and we made it through all that we have endured and all that we have suffered in America. I want you to know the situation that we are encountering now, this too shall pass. I want you to know today that we're going to make it because we are the backbone of perseverance. We are the essence of survival. We will thrive and survive. Black man, Black man, Black man. Freedom is in your hands. The first place you got to free is your mind. No man can imprison or bind you unless you allow him to imprison you in your mind. Stand up and continue to be the father to your daughter. Be the example in this nation. If you can achieve presidency of the United States, all at one time it seems to be unreachable. But now we have proved that you can. But continue to walk in character or walk in morality. And when you look up one day, not in the so distant future, you will understand, my son, that you are the essence of man. And in your hands, if you can conceive it in your mind, is the future success of your people. Young Black woman, be just that, courageous. Continue to be strong and persevere, and allow no one to tell you any less than a queen. You came, that's your heritage. And young Black man, you came from the heritage of kings. And in your mind, if you can conceive it, you sure enough can achieve it. This been the old storyteller from the front porch of the Shotgun Shack, giving you some sure enough truths and some sure enough facts. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you got any questions out there, don't get too technical now, because you know my education came from passed down generations. But if I said it, I can back it up. Is there anybody out there got anything they want to say to the old lady? Some tea?
If anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat. I don't see anything while you were presenting, Ms. Sims, but you, just listening to you, you are so inspiring, encouraging, motivating, powerful, passionate. How many more adjectives can I find? You were amazing.
No, baby, that's what you call them words you saying, adjectives.
Yes.
Well, sir, baby, I'm getting me some education today. Adjectives. All right, I got another word to put in my vocabulary. Oh, child. Thank you for that, baby.
You're welcome. So yes, please, everyone listening, if you have a question, please put it in the chat. One question I do have, Ms. Sims, is about the Reconstruction period. Can you tell us a little bit about that period?
Well, Reconstruction was a time when everything done happened, and you know we done went through a whole lot. We done had the wars, and now the Reconstruction, especially in the state of Mississippi, they had to gather themselves to see what it was. And then at that time, look at the laws as they was and the circumstances. And now they've learned from the mistakes. And now they setting up new laws and they setting a foundation. Even in the state of Mississippi, they learned during Reconstruction, they made a lot of mistakes. Their investments was wrong. And a whole lot of things happened. But during Reconstruction, during that period, we knew that things had to change. Only to learn down the road a little bit further that there was something much more that's going to happen for our freedom than what had happened in the past. So Reconstruction is just what it means. It's time to start anew, to look back at your mistakes. And once you've done that, it's time to move forward. But government and politics, everything plays a major role in everything that's been done. And them there politicians, they had some more politicking to do, baby. And we were the recipients, whether the decisions was good or bad during Reconstruction, of how they was going to build things anew, so that we don't have to go back to the point to where everything, the depression, the recession, everything in the walls, done tore things down. It's time to start anew, to build things up. And it wasn't always in the favor of everybody, but I can promise you this much. It was always in the favor of the wealthy man and the politician more than it was the people that would suffer the most.
Indeed, indeed. I see in the chat we have from James Ross. He thanks you and he says that you were informative and your lesson was very entertaining and informative lesson. Henry Smith.
Oh, baby, is he married? Indeed. I don't want to disrespect him. Oh, he is married. Well, congratulations to you, but I'm looking for one in the chat box that's looking for a slightly overweight, kind of thick woman that's been married 13 times and number 14. You know, it's a pretty neat package. It's just a little bit bigger than some of them, you know.
There's nothing in the chat box about that, Ms. Sims.
But I will tell you the qualifications while y'all getting some questions together. The last husband I had 250 acres of land. He had 100 head of cattle and $350,000 in the bank. And the one before that had even more. So now my mama raised me. If you can't bring nothing to the table, don't look back at me, because I'm looking for a man with some money, houses, land, and cars and stuff.
I hear you, Ms. Sims. Well, we have reached the end of our time for today. Unfortunately, I wish we could continue on. Penny, do you have anything else you'd like to share with Ms. Sims or the group?
Oh, no, except for I forgot one major thing, guys, but I'm sure that you have read it because, of course, Mr. Williams reminded me that Miss Helen Sims is also the Mississippi NJOF director. So she's been around and helping keep us on path. And I say us, I'm a fairly new member to this, to the National Juneteenth Observance Foundation. But I tell you, I've been learning a lot and definitely enjoying it. So I just want to thank you, the old storyteller, and I look forward to hearing some more of your stories.
Indeed, we will have to invite.
Thank you, baby. Y'all just stroking me. If you had been a man right now, gal, I tell you, I'd be on my way to your house, I tell you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sims. And thank you, everybody who attended today. We will release you so you can get back to your work day. And Ms. Sims, thank you again, most wholeheartedly. Please look in the mail for something special from us to say thanks.
Oh, baby. Oh, shuck it now. That's what the old lady talking about. Now I know you appreciate me. You know, you walk away from the table hungry, then nobody appreciate you. But when you walk away full, somebody thought enough about you to give you a meal. Ain't that all right, baby?
That's all right.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Y'all so much.
Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day.
Yes, and stay safe.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yes, be blessed, sisters.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.